if you're looking for the material that you can use for a preschooler, then stay tuned. This video is definitely for you. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for coming back. If you're new, please make sure that you click on the subscribe button and click on the bell so that you'll be notified every time I upload a video. On this video, I'm going to share the material that I use for my preschooler. This video is like a part 2 of the homeschooling video that I uploaded a few weeks ago, where I was sharing with you guys what you need to do, the basics that you need to do to start homeschooling. On this video, I'll focus on the material that I use for my 3-year-old who's soon turning 4. So it's like preschool because she's doing grade RR. Next year she'll be doing grade R. I hope you enjoyed this video, and please leave a comment. Let me know what you think and other material that you use with your preschooler. The video that talks about homeschooling, the part 1, I'll link it up here. On that video, I mentioned to you guys that I focus on reading, writing, and maths with my kids. So it's the same thing with my preschooler. Those are the 3 core modules, core subjects. I'll start with reading. I'm going to show you guys the material that I have as I go along, and then I'll move on to writing and to maths. Apart from the core subjects, I mentioned on the previous video that we do circle time together, and I don't want to repeat myself. You can go watch the video about homeschooling and also watch the video about circle time, because that's the setup of our circle time, and we do change the material in there, of course, but that's more or less everything that we do. For my preschooler, when it comes to reading, I don't really focus on her reading to me, but it's more of me reading to them. And also it's about making that phonemic awareness for her, like reading awareness of the words and of the different sounds that are on the words. So when you're reading and you're pointing at everything that you're doing. So I use flashcards. I've shared this on another video. I'll link it up here, where I was showing guys how I use the flashcards to teach my kids. So I have flashcards with the alphabets, and then we'll do the alphabets sounds, so the letter sounds, and then we also have other flashcards with objects. So we'll do the alphabet sounds, but we'll also focus on the objects on the card, so that I increase her vocabulary. I encourage increasing a child's comprehension skills by asking questions as you go along. Like you read a passage to a child and then you ask them questions about what you just read to them. And I also tell tales, you know, and I also make them tell them back to me. And some evenings they'll be the ones telling the stories, or they will create a story, which is hilarious because the stories they come out with. But by so doing, you're helping them to be able to increase their comprehension skill, and also to increase their visualization. Sometimes I'll read a passage to my child, and then you ask them to draw what was the story about. Maybe you can have different pictures or objects, and then they have to put them in sequence of the things that happened in the story. This is what happened first, it was followed by this, then this. So, but I hardly do that with Muge, my 3-year-old. Most of the time I do that with my twins who are doing grade 1. Phonics is like the foundation of reading. So what we do every day, during our circle time, most of the time, we'll sing our alphabet sound song.
Make the sound. The B says B, the C says K, the C says K. Every letter make the sound. The C says K.
For my 3-year-old, I focus on the 3-letter words, and those, most of them are decodable words that she can decode using the phonics rules. When it comes to writing, I have a video, I'll share it up here, where I showed you guys how I'm teaching her to write. And basically that video shows you the things that I use. I think it shows the binder, the numbers, and the alphabets, because I have the alphabets from A to Z, and the numbers, I think from 1 to 20 or something, that the child just trace on top. And if you don't have that, it's very easy to make one. So I make her trace the alphabets, and make her trace the numbers, and I also make her trace her name. So it's about practicing those fine motor skills, and this will help in a number of ways. Of course, being able to recognize the alphabets and being able to recognize the numbers and her name. But I'll link the video up here where I showed you guys how I'm teaching her to write. I also have a keepsake book that I keep for all of my kids. I'll also leave the link up here, because in that book I have a section where I will draw something, or I'll write something, or I'll make her trace the alphabets, or she'll have to copy what I've written, or if it's a drawing, she'll have to draw the drawing, color in, whatever that I've done there. But I'll link the video up here. I also make her copy the 3-letter words like cat, dog, and those 3-letter words. Coloring is very important in practicing those fine motor skills, and also teaching the child that she must stay inside the picture, you know, and she'll also increase her pencil tripod grip, which is needed for writing. You can make a child trace different shapes, like lines going horizontally at an angle, or maybe circle or half a circle. All those patterns are the patterns that a child will find when they are writing. For maths, I focus on number recognition and number quantity. Number recognition, I have this file with the different numbers, and I make her match the different numbers. That will help her with the number recognition. And for number quantity, it doesn't have to be sit-down work. You know, when you're talking to your child and say, can I please have 2 crayons? Can I have 1 eraser, 1 pen? That kind of stuff. It helps the child with the number quantity so that they can quantify things. I purchased a pre-K maths learning binder from Teachers Pay Teachers. I'll leave the link up here where I showed you guys what's inside there. Basically, I'm not going to repeat what's in that video. I'll leave the link. Please make sure that you go and check it out. It has a lot of activities for maths that are hands-on, and your child doesn't need to know how to write because they're just circling and drawing lines on that binder. I have a number of sorting and matching games that I do with my 3-year-old. I'll also leave a link up here where I shared my 5, I think it's called 5 fun hands-on activities that you can do with your child. On that video, I was showing you guys the 5 activities, but there are a number of other activities that you can think of that can help the child be able to sort. It can be something simple like sorting socks, or sorting things by color or by size or by shape. All those skills are very essential for maths. I also teach a number sequencing, like it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's not 1, 5, 8, 9. And then I will use the magnetic numbers and then a tray, and then she'll need to put the number in a sequence. Or you can write the numbers, have missing numbers in there, and then the child can put those missing numbers. I'll just highlight the importance of circuit time. And on the circuit time, we do a lot of reading, and we're memorizing maybe a prayer or a poem, or you memorize something. And all those things, they help the child with the vocabulary, and they also help with the fluency. I'm going to show you some of the things that I've mentioned on this video. This is the Maths Pre-K Learning Binder and the Literacy Pre-K Learning folder. I'm not going to go so much into detail on this because I have a video already for both of them. I will link it up here, and I will also link it in the description box. Next, I have this puzzles game. Well, I know this one says for ages 5+. So the twins use this, but Moge is enjoying this as well, and she's the one who uses it more than the twins. So they have different activities like spot the difference, which shadow matches the objects, and they also have word search. They have maze. This I bought from Pep, and it was okay. No, this is the file. The file was 16 rand, but I also think it was also around there. These are the flashcards that I mentioned. This one is the brain box. I have a video as well about this. This is actually a game, but I use it here as flashcards for her. I'm not focusing on these. I focus on the letter sounds and the objects that are on the flashcards, just to increase the child's vocabulary. And I have these, focusing on the letter sounds for them, and I can make it to put them in sequence. These are just the books. These ones short stories. These books, they come in different stages, and then it's the Oxford Reading Tree. This is like a series, like it's like this. So we'll read. They have very simple sentences, and they repeat the words for fluency. And then this is just another one, Dog Star, that we are doing. Dog Star, this is about the guy and the dog. They learned skating, and the dog was skating, and that fun stuff. Once I have the Bible, we use this for our sacred time. I have a number of coloring books. This is just an example. Coloring book. You can tell a child, maybe let's say here, maybe you tell them that they must color the something. They must color the cloud's mouth red or the head's blue, something like that, just to make it more challenging or interesting to your child. But the number of coloring books that we have, this one is new. It's only 20 rand. These are some of the things that I mentioned on the video. The alphabets, the magnetic alphabets, and the numbers that we use, and some pom-poms for sorting, and just some manipulatives that you can use here and there. And then, since I have my kids are in grade 1 now, so I have these books from grade R that they used. So what I will do, she's not doing everything in this book, so I'll look at the activity and then she can just do whatever activity that is in here. And surprisingly enough, she's doing very well and she understands the things in here. So I just use this for inspiration and just motivation, and just to keep things a bit interesting and organized. Also have this one for home language, the learner's book, and then I have this other one, phonics book. Okay, if you have watched until the end, please leave a golden star so that I'll know that you were with me until the end. Until the next video, thank you so much for tuning in.